I've been thinking for a while about doing a video related to Trump's courting of the crypto community. I think this really started in earnest at the Libertarian National Convention, where he discussed that on his first day, he said on his first day in office, if he's elected, that he would free and pardon Ross Ulbricht. That got a lot of news. He started accepting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies for his campaign. He said that he would be the crypto president, that he would be the best president for crypto. And having been in the space for a long time, having really tracked the governmental moves throughout the world, I wanted to do a little video. I don't want to talk incredibly much about Trump himself, but I do want to point out a concept called civic morality, and talk about the little trap that Trump lays for people and that he's done so far in his entire political career. And I'm sure he does this in business as well. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, or that I want to say, is that Trump is not going to be a good crypto president if he's elected. His first day in office, he will not pardon Ross Ulbricht. These things are not going to happen. Trump has an interesting MO, the thing that he does. And his MO is basically that he can always frame himself as having won in a situation, because he never defines what winning is until after the outcome has happened of the thing in question. So, for instance, we can take Operation Warp Speed, right? The woke poke. His definition of winning, if you listen to him talk about it, it has nothing to do with what the effectiveness of the poke was. It has nothing to do with whether it stopped the pandemic. What it has to do with his win, he'll say, we were able to get this pharmaceutical product into the marketplace sooner than anybody thought was possible. They told me that it would take years. I told them, no, we can do it in months or weeks or whatever. And we did that. So that's a win. So he will just discuss it in terms of a win, because he's set the goalposts where they're supposed to be. He's defining win, but he only defines win after the fact. So that way he could just find whatever happened, set the win at that mark, and say, look, we passed that mark, so therefore we won. And this is ultimately because for Donald Trump, the only thing that matters is winning. And he has framed his reality in that, well, it's MAGA, right? Make America great again. But make America great again how? Well, just by electing Donald Trump. Because the mere fact that Donald Trump is the president will make America great again. If Donald Trump wins, America wins. This is sort of the notion. But this is exactly opposite of the idea of civic morality. And civic morality, the idea is that leaders are chosen, and that leaders are endowed with the resources of the group, like outsized resources of the group, so that those leaders have the resources to do what is in the best interest of the group. So in other words, those leaders are given maximum skin in the game so that they will do what is best for the group. And what comes with that, the presupposition, is that sometimes what is best for the group will not be good for the leader. So in fact, at times, this is the idea of civic morality, a leader's job is really to sacrifice his own good for the good of the group. And now people will be like, oh, well, that's communal communism, some sort of collectivism. And it's like, yeah. You don't have to be the leader. You don't have to be the leader. But if you're going to be the leader and you're going to reap the benefits of being the leader, what you are accepting is that you do believe in the idea of a greater good, and you do believe in the idea of a collective, right? So that's the underlying thing. It can't be, I'm going to be the leader of this group, but the good of the group is not what's important. What's important is that I win, and if I win, then the group will win, because that's basically the Trump narrative. And unfortunately, that is the narrative of a lot of the I mean, they're all narcissists, but of the most pathological narcissists in really in leadership positions. So that's how you get a dictator. And I'm not saying that Trump is a dictator. I'm not saying that Trump will ever become a dictator. He doesn't want to be a dictator. It's just pure narcissism for him. And it really is just about like winning at every step, making his enemies look bad, having people cheer for him, which is whatever, but does it lead to prosperity for everybody is the question. And is it really an upholding of civic morality? That's the question. I am not suggesting that the right thing is to look toward and to try to serve the greater good. That will lead you to tyranny. But what I am suggesting is that this idea of civic morality actually comes out of, like, as a Christian, if one is oriented toward Christ, you will necessarily do many things where it is a sacrifice of yourself, where suffering is taken onto yourself, where a sacrifice is made of yourself for the good of those whom you have been given care over, whom you are shepherding. And clearly, if you're a Christian and you look, you're like, well, that is the model of Christ. It's not, you don't even have to look to a greater good. You just look to serve your Father. You look to serve the Lord, and the Lord loves mankind. So in serving the Lord, you are serving mankind. And this is a Christian morality. And that ends up becoming and looking like a civic morality, where at times you will take the L so that everybody else can have the W. And the fact that you will do that is why you are put in the leadership position, because not everybody is willing to do that. And so this helps to look and to see what is the sacrifice that Trump or anyone else who's claiming to be, I'm crypto friendly, what is the sacrifice that they're making? Like, this has been a controversial subject. People have gone to jail over this, are still going to jail over it. I mean, we've got, as I record this video, we've got CZ in jail, right? The founder and CEO of the biggest crypto exchange in the world in U.S. jail. And we have Roger Ver basically being detained and awaiting trial and potentially going to jail himself. And not to mention all of the other people who have been, who are related to crypto, who have been brought in front of the courts. And where were any of these people at that time? Never mind Ross Ulbricht, who I am friends with Lynn Ulbricht, have been for years. She was actually the very first guest on the Vin Armani Show podcast. And, we've engaged with each other at many places around the world as she would go advocating for Ross. I actively have advocated for Ross. This was in front of President Trump, and he did nothing about it, okay? He had the opportunity. He knew about it. It was brought in front of him with hundreds of thousands of signatures, but it's only now when there's an opportunity to get some cheers and an opportunity to win, to beat the libertarians and to make them look stupid. And that's why he did it. And so I think that this is something to look at. It's not supposed to be an occupation. It's supposed to be a vocation. This is also, if you have a Christian worldview, this is very much it. A vocation meaning a calling. Anybody who wants to be a leader probably shouldn't be a leader. Go back and watch Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, the old Jimmy Stewart movie. The important thing there is that he is appointed senator, because I believe a senator dies, if I recall this. So he is appointed senator and he goes. No one should want to do this. You shouldn't want to be president. If you want to be president, you're an asshole by definition, right? And very likely a sociopathic narcissist or a murderous psychopath. Like, these are pretty much the two options that we have. So I think that this is something that people need to be paying attention to. You need to be looking at. Don't fall for the trap. These technologies have a chance to really do a lot of good in the world. And be careful. Be careful that you align yourself just because they say the right words. Make sure that their actions are speaking as loudly as their words.